Hi for Advantage here. Thanks for joining me for a few minutes as we go through a universal leadership framework on creative consciousness. I was going through a park in a large city the other day and I noticed some people performing. I especially like this one gentleman who was able to jump over a rope. It was a high jump, and the way he did it was something I'd always imagined, but to see somebody doing it was just amazing. He would dive over the rope, and as he dove over this rope that was up to probably 6.5 feet, would have normally just landed on his hands, but he flipped and landed on his feet, so he could keep going higher and higher. Thought that was exciting, something I always wanted to do and just haven't gotten around to it yet. I'll put it on the list. I walked around the park a little bit further and I saw a bunch of people playing chess. And they were thinking about the chessboard intently, speed chess, and they may have noticed some of the other things going on, but they were all about playing chess. And then I walked a little further and I saw some people holding placards and wanting donations for the homeless and for other activities that they were involved in to help people. And some of the Occupy Wall Street people, protesting still were there. Walked a little bit further and there was a group playing drums and chanting and meditating and burning incense. And I walked a little bit further and I saw artists and a statue of a scientist, and they were drawing and painting and projecting ideas and images on canvas. And the art and the scientist had been both an explorer and a scientist who'd done amazing things, like Ben Franklin. And what that really means to me was I saw 5 different kinds of consciousness. I saw the physical consciousness, person very aware of their body only, because that's what they were doing at the time. I saw people who were just aware with their mind playing that game. Others who were very socially connected, and that was their consciousness at the time, trying to transform or make a difference in society. Well, another group was trying to get in touch with something beyond what they were experiencing every day and experience it more fully so they could transcend and transform themselves in this world. And then there was another group that was saying, here's what we've brought from this creative space and to back into this world for our enjoyment and for yours. So it was really a creative type of a consciousness, and the scientists being there kind of put art and science together because they do the same thing. There's a gentleman who said, we are what we think about all day long. We actually think about many things in different streams of consciousness. We think about our bodies. We're aware of what's going on socially. We're aware that we're thinking about it. And we're wondering, what does it all mean and how can I make a difference? All of these things are going on. Consciousness is a term that is not to be relegated to the neuropsychologists or neurophysiologists. What it is, what they look for are neural correlates of consciousness. The neuroscientists do, and they really haven't found what our experience is. They're able to tell where different activities happen in the brain that give us certain feelings, certain experiences, are able to energize them, but they can't really control the experience that we have or give us that experience. There's those who work in artificial intelligence and computer science, and they have a pretty good way of looking at it, I think, which is this dual set that we have an awareness, but we also choose what we're going to focus on. So there's a dual nature of consciousness that way. What I like best is a thing called higher order thought. And the higher order thought idea is that all of our perceptions, our feelings, our thoughts, and our eyesight and our hearing become one experience through a higher order process that's able to integrate. And that's a lot of what I'm trying to do, is integrate things for us so that we can take the high ground and then feed back to our daily experience and be very powerful in consciousness. So what I'm going to do is give you really quickly the 5 fundamental areas of consciousness and how they work in us. And I'm going to throw in an extra bonus, which is philosophy, because philosophy has the same 5 areas of philosophy that deal with our consciousness. Consciousness studies were disallowed for quite a long time in the first half of the 20th century because those who were and the editors and the top scholars in the field said, this is just going to get us into metaphysics. We're not going to go into consciousness. But it's risen back up. Its beautiful face, and for the last 50 years has been a tremendous force in the world, and probably will continue to be. So what we have here, is the physical awareness. This is the awareness of our body. It has to do with ethics in philosophy, because ethics is about life and about helping people to live. It's about being able to pursue our own self-development and connect as we want to connect and associate. So we have this physical awareness, and the next level, this yellow level, is our mental awareness. It's about cause and effect. It's about time awareness. It's about probability and about variables. And we look at how that affects our body, and it affects physical things around us. Now, I'm not a dualist, so I don't believe there's a duality between the mind and the body. I look at it in a very simple way. That paint is to the brain as art is to the mind. And we can organize it. And that's our energy piece. If you remember the Universal Leadership Framework from Complete Content, energy is a huge part of our being. It's a part that is empirically proven, and we just don't know what to do with it any more than we know what to do with much of any energy. But the energy that's from our brain, and this thought process really helps to guide us. It's also epistemology. Epistemology is a philosophical word for how we know what we know. The physical is about the things that we have in our world, and how do we know that it's in our world? That's our mental world. All very internal to us. We share that with everybody, but it's internal. And nobody can see our private thoughts. They can see what we do, they can hear what they say, but no one can see that. And so on the external, we get into the social awareness. And there's a social consciousness, just like there's a social imagination of how things can be. We're aware of the laws, the culture, the norms, the education, the money, the religion. Those are very social things. Groups get together who believe the same things, who value the same things, who honor the same things, who trust the same things, who understand these things in the same way. And that social consciousness is a part of our being. It's politics and political philosophy is about the social conscious. And of course, social, mental, and physical are very connected with family, because that just transcends, it cuts across all three very deeply. And yet the individual can choose and grow and do things that are very unique to them as well. But the family needs to be just recognized in there a bit. This is internal. Here we're going external. And then the next external is the rest of the universe. This is the known external. This is the unknown external. It's the metaphysics, the nature. What is the nature of the universe? We really have no great idea. We're still looking for answers. This is the area of spirit. It's the area where there's just huge amounts of energy that we don't know what to do with. And so this spirit and this energy is a place that we explore. And yet we know it affects us as well. And it's a consciousness. We're aware of what we don't know. And we're looking for answers. How did it begin? Did it begin? Could it ever end? Those things are kind of questions that, how does that work with thermodynamics? Well, it can't be, total energy and can't be created or destroyed. Is that true? So all of these things we're looking for in the metaphysics, and that's a part of our consciousness. How do we deal with ambiguity or uncertainty in our ability to perform as a person, as well as the way it works in society and the way it works beyond that? There's a certain set of unknowns that we can never completely know. And then this line here is a squiggly line that starts in the unknown and feeds all the way back in. and that's art and science. Art and science is about taking things a little bit to the edge, creating critical experiments that are going to transform what we know into something totally new. Heimlich did that with the Heimlich maneuver. Einstein did that with relativity. Seligman did that in psychology. There have been hundreds of transformative moments where suddenly everything we knew changed and our world was changed. Galen and blood, just a number of understandings about the human body, they're just all brought in through challenging the status quo of the prevailing paradigm, through proving through cause and effect in a way that is actually tangible and verifiable. So those are the levels of our creative consciousness and the way that it works, and that's aesthetics. There's a certain beauty to art and beauty to science when it's transformative and it's leading us into a new way. Out here is a little bit different. Let me just go one more time. Internal, external. This is a bit of a returnal. It's a developmental, where it really hits what's going on. And we have a challenge. There's always risk and reward with that kind of effort. If it's right, it needs to be integrated in as clean and in smooth way as possible. If it's wrong, it needs to be kept out, but we need it to be happening. So it's always done in a safeguarded way, any kind of change management. Out here is time, as we get to live longer and understand more about history, we see there's certain patterns that we go through, and we become aware of that, and we share that consciousness. So it becomes a unity consciousness, and then we transcend everything with a shared consciousness, where we get to point to where I know this, you know that I know this, and it's on a global level. So really we've taken the social area and we put it way out here, because we all, those of us who know that these things are happening, share this, and it's very wonderful, awesome, and has huge potential. So that's creative consciousness as it goes. The value of creative consciousness, it brings our physical, mental, social together in a developmental and creative way that is a top experience in the energy of life. Each part of life, when aligned, it reinforces our wholeness, reinforces our health, it reinforces our alertness, focus, health, confidence, performance, all improve. So I just wanted you to have some of these things that can be confusing but very powerful when you know them, and I wanted you to know them simply. I mean, I have a PhD in human and organizational systems, and a PhD is a philosophy degree because of the degree of knowledge and process and critical thinking that we have to put in to those studies and engagement with a community. An MBA in business. I have a Ivy League negotiations degree and an interdisciplinary studies undergraduate degree. So it's important for me to have the big picture, so that whatever we want to do and everything that we want to do has a very powerful framework within which we do it. And I'm sure there will be tweaks to this in years to come. Thanks a lot for spending this time with me. I hope it's been valuable for you and that you've enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed putting it together and presenting it. Jim Smith, General Manager.